The cold open will just be 4 minutes of technical troubleshooting. That's what the people want. That's what they really want.
Amazing. One of these days we really should.
What's that movie? Is it a hit? Don't ask her like she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is a podcast where we bring people on the show and we get them really drunk and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I'm Alenka Zach.
And I'm Will.
Yep. As usual, you guys. And today is going to be spicy because I don't even want to talk to Will as usual. You guys know I fucking hate talking to Will. But anyways, I want to get right into who we're talking to other than Will. Because for the first time in a super long time, we're having two guests on.
Count them. Count them one. Count them two. Two guests. Wait. What? Alenka?
No, it's two. It is two.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
one and
two
two
episodes ago. No, I'm pretty sure 2 episodes ago we had two guests on.
Okay, well, I don't know why. This energy just feels different, okay?
All right. That is not an insult to those previous two guests.
No, it's not. It's just we're also filming a lot later than usual, and I had a Coca-Cola, so I'm hyped.
That's true. You're super hyped. And I'm super hyped to have our next guest on. See, segue. I did it. We have from the Murmurs from the Morgue, a horror movie podcast on the iHorror Network, Kelly and Bri. Yay. Welcome back, Kelly, and welcome, Bri.
Thank you. Hello. We're very
Yay.
excited to be here.
Yes.
We're excited to have you. It's a bloody fun time we're going to have.
Yeah, I mean,
Indeed.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous, and also I don't think we've done anything really juicy, and by juicy I mean obviously gory, in a while.
Yeah, I mean, we did Sleepy Hollow, which has a lot of blood, but is not like gory.
It's not as
juicy.
squishy.
No.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that you were on was pretty
That has some
demented
really
and
great
squishy.
moments. Some great
Some
squishy
squish
moments.
Yep.
Oh, congealy, if you will.
That squish. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. What movie are we talking about?
We are talking about Sam Raimi's 1981 classic, The Evil Dead.
Indeed. 1981 period.
Exclamation point.
Yes.
It sure is an 80s movie for sure.
It sure is. It's been popularized by having sequels, by having a musical, by having a remake done in I think 2013.
What?
It's a popular movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you said
a couple video games.
Yes.
Stop. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's got some history. Oh, and then there was the series as well that they did. That was kind of like
The
a
TV
spin-off series.
show.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is
It's a
honestly the
franchise.
best.
I am going to be
my
so
opinion.
mad when I do my synopsis and it's so horribly wrong because this sounds like a more prevalent movie than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, I think like the collective consciousness of this movie is not necessarily this first one. I feel like most people picture like the second one or,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ash in the later ones,
The boomstick and the chainsaw hand
This is very much like Friday the 13th. It's very much not what the rest of the franchise
Yeah.
is.
Kind of crazy.
Very different. Very different.
Delivering to the peeps,
Well,
I guess.
why did you choose this movie? What do you love about this movie?
The reason I love this movie is, again, like I think it was Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 that were like some of my first introduction into the horror genre. Like they were two of the movies that sort of really, really got me into it. And then I went back and watched The Evil Dead and was like, oh, this is significantly more serious than those other two movies. But it's got some fantastic goopy special effects. It's got some fantastic creepy gore. It's actually some really cool camera work as well that I really love. And it's just become like such a cultural phenomenon. I think that it's really got a special place in my heart. Bri, what about you?
I was just going to say, I always forget how dark it actually is because I feel like the Evil Dead franchise, especially the later movies, they really play up the comedy and like over the top violence factor. But rewatching it, especially this last time, I realized like how much it was really about like how horrible dying is and like having your friends die, which, you know, isn't great.
And like watching your friends die and participating in your friends dying and, you know, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I saw The Evil Dead, I didn't really appreciate it fully. And I didn't appreciate it completely until I watched Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show that takes place like 30 years later. And I was like, oh. Yeah, similar characters, but one is catching Pokemon, the other is catching demons. So
right.
Or maybe I shouldn't reveal that much.
Oh no, I'm gonna get this so wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like if like your introduction to the Fast and the Furious franchise was like F9 and then you went back and watched the first one and you're like, this is significantly different. This is not the same at all.
Still really about family though, when you get down to it.
That's the through line.
Yeah.
Whereas the through line for this one's still demons. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
Bruce Campbell. He is the through line.
That is the second big reason why I wanted to do this movie, because I am like the number one Bruce Campbell fangirl. Unless someone wants to fight.
Unless they want to
meet you like behind the in the parking lot outside at like 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Fight.
Stop. I hate you so much, Will. Oh, that guy. Okay.
I'm allowed to bring back the sound effects once in a while.
You don't do it once in a while.
You're so ready.
You don't. You do it all the time.
I got most of it out during our live stream.
You say so.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was going to say about Bruce Campbell, he's like, again, he's become such a character. Like even his face is like
his face
more square in every other movie than it is in this first one. It's
yeah, that's very true. He's just like a little baby in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of like almost like, at least in the early portions, this like I like to call it like the Brando-ness, where it's like seems significantly better than all the other actors, even like right off the top in terms of some of his like, you know, delivery. You're like, oh, he's much better than everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I know that he and Sam Raimi used to make a whole bunch of movies together when they were like kids growing up. And they just sort of determined that Bruce Campbell would be the one on screen because he was the one that the girls wanted to look at, according to them.
Nice.
So they're like, he'll do the acting. And then Sam Raimi stay behind the camera.
Yeah.
Great choice, because he really is the franchise.
It's true.
It's not even as pronounced, I would feel, in the first one, but after that, like he really like takes the mantle of the Evil Dead.
Yeah, he carries it on those broad shoulders.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is gonna happen?
Please tell us what happens in this movie. I want to know.
I thought this was the movie where it opens with, I want to say, like a helicopter, and then there's like a classic zombie situation where like there's some sort of like, oh fuck, I can't even remember what the thing is. They're in a helicopter. There's like an eyeball that zooms in or it closes and then it opens back up and it's clearly a zombie eyeball. No, we're not doing zombies at all today, are we?
Are you thinking like what? Like
I think
Night
it's
of the Living Dead or
365 days
something?
after or something stupid like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that one?
Is that the one? Is it 365
So
or
it's
is
like-
it just 65?
Not
Or is it 35?
It's not.
How many days after?
28 days later?
28.
28 days.
28
Yeah.
days later. I
Yeah,
think I'm
you're
thinking of
about
that movie.
40 some days too far.
I thought. Because why would they write 1 year later? Doesn't make sense. So that movie. So is there
Different.
zombies
Not too
or
far
no?
off.
Is there zombies?
Kinda.
There's deadites.
I don't understand.
Demon. There's possessed bodies
Yeah.
that should be dead, but
Yeah,
no.
but aren't.
Okay.
But they're not always possessed when they're dead.
That's true. And they repeatedly should be dead.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes a while.
then is this
Spoilers.
the game? Now, this video game, did they make one like, I want to say like a Bikini Island version? He's like stranded?
No, that's Dead or Alive.
That's Dead or Alive.
The fighting game.
I
Yeah.
have
Dead or
no
Alive volleyball
idea.
edition. Yeah.
That should
idea what
be a
this movie's about.
crossover. That would be a great crossover.
Oh yeah, Dead or Alive, the evil Dead or Alive. Yeah.
Yeah, 35
With
days
bikini girls.
later, 35 dead days later, Dead or Alive days later, The Evil Dead.
Dead or yeah.
We should make
I'd
this into
watch
a
it.
board game or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Franchise
Card game.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there's an Evil Dead board game out there. Probably.
Oh, for
Come
sure.
on.
Like an Evil
Yeah.
Dead
Come
like
on.
version of Risk or something. I don't know.
Or like Jumanji.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I just want
turn
to
At the very
monetize
least,
on that.
Monopoly.
Necronomicon. Yeah.
Well,
So,
actually,
I
Alenka,
guess
I'm going
what?
to challenge you to some more improv based
Oh.
on what you heard and what was
Okay.
clearly not the movie you
Okay,
described.
yeah,
What do you
okay.
actually think that happens?
Okay. So this man with the broad shoulders and the broad jawline, he works. No, he doesn't. He's just a family man. He just has, he works. It's the 80s. He's a business guy and he's like going to work, whatever. And his wife's like, hey, honey, don't forget, we have church this Sunday. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And so by the time he gets home, he was working from Monday all the way until Saturday late. So he goes to bed. And then his wife, when he gets up, already went to church. So he goes to meet her there, and they have some kids and they're also there. But when he gets there, they're all dead. And that's fine. That happens. We don't know why they died. It's just evident that they did, in fact, die. So he is like, okay, well, we got to bury my family. So they do. They have a thing, whatever. The following day, his wife and children just revisit him, just like super dead, but like kind of out for blood, kind of like trying to bring them with him or him with them. And he has to like kill them, and that's fine because sometimes you have to do that. But he realizes that a bunch of the other dead people that have passed away are also doing that to their families. So he's like, okay, something's not quite right. So he tries to find out the source, and so is the franchise, and he just keeps looking. So pretty spot on, I think.
Yeah, this is the first draft of that movie, I believe.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was-
Yeah. Anything right?
Although very oddly,
Does he have a family?
Similar to your description of the thing, there's some things that you kind of hit on that, like even
Yeah.
emotions
Yeah.
that this movie
Yeah.
does touch on. You know,
It's true.
yeah.
Not
Emotions?
the family,
I talked
No.
about emotions. Okay. Or his just like meh for
Like, yeah,
life.
sometimes you have to kill the people you love.
though. It's true.
Right.
Sometimes that comes up and there's no escaping
that's
it.
fine.
And you'll feel a little sad about it, and it's fine. And you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
But then he's like,
Mhm.
I have a
It's the main-
shoulder or I have a jaw wide enough to not even fit through a door. So that'll get me a new lady. He doesn't care.
Very true.
Yeah.
So can't wait.
The ladies love the shoulders.
That's the sequel.
The jaw. As long as your jaw is wider than your shoulders, you're a shoo-in.
I think, yeah. I think that was a solid effort. I like
yeah.
A
Thanks.
plus.
I know.
I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Damn. I mean, I have a solid effort on this drink I made.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't make it because it looked like shit.
Thank you very much. The drink tonight is called the Drink of the Dead, and it is a mixed or red berry smoothie. I kind of went with mixed, so mine's a little pretty deep purple. Mixed berry smoothie with whiskey topped with milk.
Mhm.
Nice bright white milk.
Milk.
And we'll get into that later in the movie, why there's milk in that.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
it's okay. It's not too bad. How does it
It's
taste, Kelly?
fine.
I'm enjoying mine. Mine's a little chunky, so I'm going to be chewing on it
Yes.
throughout.
Exactly. And
this
that's what I wanted. A
recording.
chunky smoothie.
Yeah.
Mine, we have a Ninja blender. We go top
Game
notch.
over.
He blended it too
Even on
well.
a couple pulse settings, it's perfect.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Ninja, if you're listening to this, you make a great
Sponsor
smoothie.
us. See, I thought we'd be dealing with zombies because of the chonk factor, and I thought you wanted the milk in there because it would curdle, making it look even grosser. But I guess I was wrong.
Sure. I mean, there's also milk in my smoothie, so it won't curdle because there's already milk in there.
Oh yeah. Whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 But it's
Fine.
a nice bright finish to
Yeah.
a very muddy drink, and I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
good job
Well,
with this one. I like it. It's tasty.
It's high praise from the.
You don't
creepy
have to be
crafter
nice to
as
him.
It's chewy, but it's tasty.
It's a drink and it's food.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
This
that's
is my
perfect way
dinner.
to describe this movie: chewy but tasty.
Ew.
Bri Kelly, how
Mhm.
does this movie start?
Well, we start on a foggy night through the woods. This camera is moving through the forest. It's soaring around branches, moving towards a car, this really cool yellow car that we see that is just strolling along. And in this car is a group of friends. There's 5 friends. Thank you. there is Scotty behind the wheel being kind of a douche because that's how he is.
Yeah.
I don't remember who's sitting where, but there's Linda somewhere in the car. There's a Cheryl.
Linda, Cheryl, yeah. There's a Shelley.
There's a Shelley, and then there's broad-shouldered, broad-jawed Ash,
Wow.
Yes.
our hero.
And
Short for
Ketchum.
Ashley.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
So Linda is his girlfriend.
Mhm.
Cheryl is his sister.
Mhm.
Scott
Oh.
or Scotty is his best friend. And that other lady,
Shelley.
yes.
Yeah.
She is dating Scotty.
Scotty's girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
the
Okay.
relational
Mhm.
picture.
And these
Okay.
motherfuckers have no radio. They're just singing. They're just singing a
Oh.
weird song.
What song?
You don't do that?
Joyfully.
Yeah, what the heck,
When
Will?
the radio's broke, you got to make your own music.
Yeah.
Listen, I've driven
Also,
with broken
this
radios
movie-
before, and that's a real struggle.
Sure.
This movie was made with $5, basically, which I feel is an interesting
Shoestring.
way to understand it.
Yeah.
They had no radio budget.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They spent it all on the gas to
They
get
got
there.
the car and they're like, damn, we need some more film for our cameras. Let's pull the radio out,
Yeah.
sell that on the street.
I would not be surprised, honestly.
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So we've got this camera that's floating through the woods, being all creepy, and then all of a sudden it sort of goes right up to the car. As they're singing the car, they're not really paying attention. There's a truck that is coming right towards them, and the steering wheel jerks in the direction of the truck, and Scott is trying to redirect it, but he can't quite. And at the last second, he like swerves it over, and he's like, "Woof!" And everyone in the car is like, "Damn, you're a bad driver."
Phew.
And he goes, "No, your car's a piece of shit, Ash." And Ash goes, "No, I just got it tuned up. It's fine." So first things first. It's suspicious, this thing that moved towards the car.
Right,
You know,
right,
that Something's
right.
probably going on.
Weird.
Something's already happening to them.
Yeah, something's
And
already getting spooky.
I'll just say before the rest of the movie, because this is like what happens throughout, is that it's like a really long shot of like the car, the truck, back to Ash, back to them singing, back to the stereo. Like it's much longer than like and all 80s horror movies were this like really slow pacing where you're like, just get to something. What's happening? It's
The
so
script
slow.
is 10 pages, but like the movie's an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
But so they're driving along. They're getting to a cabin in the woods. Ooh, that's me referencing the musical that is going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But they're going on their way to the cabin in the woods, and it looks like it's in real bad shape. It's they know it's going to be in real bad shape. They're like, and it might be kind of nice.
Well, I mean, before that, they do get stuck on the bridge. Their tire goes through the bridge.
They break on through that bridge.
They go over the bridge, and planks fall from it like into the water below, and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah. And there's a great scene where Ash opens up the door and Bruce Campbell's face and it's like, oh, he like looks down and it's very cartoony.
Come on.
His face is just very cartoony in general. I love it so much. So they after they break on through the bridge and they're like, oh, and then they sort of make it the rest of the way across the bridge because of reasons. Car. They sort of slow drive up the street again. It takes like 5 minutes for this shot for them to actually get up to the cabin, but there's a bench swinging ominously and it's like banging against the side of the cabin. And they're like, ooh, spooky ooky. But then as soon as they take the key down from on top of the door, the banging stops and it's like, ooh, spooky ooky. So they go inside.
But not before it, again, another maybe 10 minutes of Scotty walking slowly, keeping turning around, looking at his friends. The camera's like his perspective looking at his friends, and then cut back to their perspective, him walking slowly.
Yeah.
Back
There's
and
a lot of
forth,
banter,
back and
too.
forth, bang, bang, bang. Yeah.
But that must
Teenage
mean
banter.
something, right?
Yeah. Oh, I guess, yeah, it's definitely establishing,
Tone,
He's a weirdo.
tone and
suspicion.
Yes.
yeah, but just way too
Energy.
long for my
It's,
taste.
it's a long shot. So Scotty gets the keys. He opens the door. He's doing an explore. The place is super creeps. It's just sort of, again, generally creepy. Meanwhile, Bruce Campbell, aka Ash, is just super precious, playing with the girls, doing like little tossing their luggage back and forth, and they're having a grand old time as friends, because friends have a grand old time always.
Yeah.
And he is showing us this very, very appropriately. So then they find a spooky shed. It's all creepy, and they finally get inside.
There's a lot of weird hanging shit in the shed.
Yes.
And but he's still walking around like, yeah, this is normal.
Yeah, he's like, this is fine. He's like, I didn't see this in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What
there's
kind of
like
hangy
probably
stuff?
bones and things, like various knickknacks that look really creepy and scary and dooming.
Where'd they go?
them for
Why are they?
eternal
What's this
danger.
like place they're going to? Are they just like, this will be a cute weekend getaway?
You hit on something. By this point in the movie, I'm like, who are these people?
Right.
What is happening? Why are they at this cabin? No
Why
mention
are they here?
of what's going on. Where did they find this cabin? There's no Airbnb in 1981. What's happening? There's no mention like, oh, I'm going to my uncle's cabin. It's literally just, they're at this cabin.
Yeah. Doing teenager things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Now that
Just
makes
being
more
super
sense.
cool.
That's what teenagers did.
Yeah. But they're like college students. Right?
That's what you do.
They're,
or are they high school?
It's the 80s. It's impossible to tell.
Sure, yes.
Everyone in 80s horror movies is either like 17 or 35. Like there's no in between.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Bruce
Or it's
Campbell
all
looks
in
like
between,
both
really.
at once.
He does. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
Ageless.
Very true.
So then they get settled down in the cabin and they all go off into their individual rooms, and they all have their blinds open so that anyone who like passes through by the cabin could see right in. And Cheryl, Bruce or Ash's sister, is sitting by the window, and once again it's cutting to the camera looking through the window as this mysterious, chaotic entity. And then the window is open, I think, at this point, actually, and a spooky breeze comes in.
And it's like, join us.
Yeah.
No.
So
Cheryl.
spooky.
Does it say that?
And she's
Does it
drawing.
say that?
It does.
Yes,
It says join us.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
spookily.
Yes.
And she's drawing. She's like doing this nice, pretty sketch of a clock, and then the clock starts like just keep ticking and ticking and ticking, and then she just starts like drawing this really frantic, like weird square
she
thing.
draws SpongeBob.
Yeah,
That's what she draws.
great way to describe it.
See,
The
bikini
minute
bottom.
it's like she finished,
I was right.
It's literally It's literally like a 45 angle degree view
Yeah.
of SpongeBob. It's like this. It's like a
The
cube
creepy
square.
face. Yeah.
But with a creepy, scary face.
Yeah.
And,
And then
it's,
there's this.
it's like her arm is possessed, and only her arm is like
Yes.
really chaotically moving, and she seems like really distressed about this, as
Yeah.
one would
Right.
be.
She's like, "Why this happening to me?"
Yes.
And then a cellar starts banging, making a
Yes.
whole bunch of noise. The cellar.
Mhm.
And then just out of the blue, we cut to them just hanging out having dinner.
Yep.
There's like
Yeah.
no follow up with the cellar
we,
whatsoever.
we cut to their dinner, and this is part of the reason I made the drink a smoothie. They blend like a smoothie, and they all
Yeah.
share that. Which again, I'm like, who's blending up a
That's so
smoothie in this
weird.
cabin for dinner? I don't know. It's just it was a very random thing to me.
And like,
I'm
did
not
they
a
bring the
smoothie
blender?
person.
Like,
Yeah.
did someone
Yeah.
pack a blender?
It's a spooky
I
blender.
can't
It's a
imagine that they
haunted
would have
blender.
just found a blender in this
Right?
cabin.
Yeah.
this
Also,
very
who
derelict
brings
cabin.
like you're going to a cabin and you're like, I really want to stick to my diet this week, so I'm gonna bring only stuff for smoothies, and that's all we're gonna
Yeah.
eat. And you guys have to do it with
Yeah.
me.
And it's not like a margarita, like a blended margarita, like because they're drinking. It's literally like a berry smoothie. So I was like, you know what?
so
I'm making it a smoothie,
weird.
this drink.
Their suitcases is just nothing but blenders and protein powder. That's like all they brought.
That's how you
Ash
get
has
a
got to keep up
jaw.
those shoulders, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they're cutting to food time. Everyone's chatting. Nobody's saying nothing about the spooky Yucca cellar, but it will not be ignored, and it keeps banging again and banging and banging again. And they're like, well, it's probably just an animal because why not, right? And then Scotty's like, no. That's not an animal. You're a dummy.
Yeah.
As he basically says it that way. He's very, very rude. So he's laughing at was it, I don't know, Shelley?
Cheryl,
Cheryl's hypothesis.
Cheryl is all
Some
like
girl.
upset at this point because
she's
of
like,
the
I don't
incident
like.
that she shared
Right.
with no one.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
clearly
Tell
that
anyone
happens
about
to her
this.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just something you shrug off and eat, drink your smoothie and then ignore it.
Sometimes your hand just gets possessed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then so
Ash.
the cellar door is like being really loud, and they all go and surround it and look at it, and then we get a real that 70s show shot where they just like pan to each of their faces
Come on.
around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love
But so
and
Scotty's like, I'm going to go down because he's not scared. He's all aloof and everything. He's like, I'm going to go
Good.
check it out because
Yeah,
manly
he's the
man.
I'm the
dumbass of the
man.
group.
Yes. He's what
Someone
some might
has
call
to
the
be.
cannon fodder of the group.
True.
So Scotty goes down because he's all aloof and he's not scared, but he's not answering when the Ash is like, hey, yo, Scotty, what's up? And Scotty's not
And
answering.
this also is a scene that takes like 5 minutes long
yeah.
of them all just like, oh, where's
Waiting.
Scotty? Is
Yeah.
he okay?
Yeah,
Haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's doing down there.
Ash goes down, and it is a cool like film type shot, but again,
Yeah.
like no one takes
So
this long to
long.
look around. He like gets to the bottom, and it's like it's the camera's on him, and then pans a full fucking rotation right back on his head, but the slowest rotation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just picture
Mm.
because at a certain point you're like, oh, this is Ash's point of view. I just picture him like slowly looking around as slow
Right.
as possible
Just
in
needs
his
to.
basement.
He's just
right
being
back
very
to his
present.
face.
He's taking it all in.
He's enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like trying to look for Scotty. Scotty's not answering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
there's like yams hanging from
Yams?
the
Yes.
Yeah,
basement.
more hanging things.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
hanging
Love
things.
yams.
Which apparently was like actually an homage to Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre. Was like the stuff hanging from the
Oh.
ceiling. That's why they added
Yes,
that
that
in.
makes sense. Yeah,
Fun
Yeah.
fact.
And so then
Mhm.
Scotty takes advantage of the situation. He scares Ash.
by
and then
jumping out
immediate-
from like in front of him.
Nice.
And then he immediately is like, dude, you have to check out these cool things I found, like completely oblivious to the fact that they've been like calling his name for like 10
What a
minutes.
dope.
And he's just really got to show Ash the cool things that he found in this cellar area.
he's a short attention span. He was very distracted.
Yeah.
So they go ahead.
So they go over to this weird little cove that's inside the cellar, and it's got all of these ancient looking things on it. And
Mhm.
so Ash picks up this book, a very squishy book,
What?
and
What do you mean
Scotty is
squishy
talking
book?
about how cool all the
Like
things.
it looks very squishy,
squishy.
and
I
kind
don't
of
understand.
gross. You know?
Is it
Yeah.
made out of like pillow? What kind of squish are we talking about?
No,
Is
more
it made
like
out of-
like more like a real loose rubber. You know?
Yeah.
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 I'm confused.
But-
all will be revealed.
Okay.
There's also a shotgun that they find, and Scotty knows nothing about gun safety because he's like, check this out. And he points it directly
Yeah.
in Ash's face because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Cute.
So, like, no gun safety. They find a book that's super squishy and weird looking. They
Mhm.
find a dagger that's super
Big
creepy
dagger.
looking. Big old dagger.
Right.
And
And
then
then
they
they're
also
like-
find,
hmm
a tape recorder and some
Mhm.
tapes.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
just
no.
like the coolest thing in the world to Scotty. And he's
Yeah.
got to take all of this stuff upstairs to show everyone because it's just so cool.
It's like,
Right.
help me collect these things. We can bring them
Yeah.
up for the others, more or less. And like, so they just
Well, all they brought was
gather all these
smoothie ingredients. You need entertainment.
They got to do something. So they bring this tape up from downstairs and they're playing the tape and they find it's this old sounding dude, talking about excavating the ruins of Kandar. And they found a significant find in the Kandarian ruins, which is a quote unquote Book of the Dead, which is bound in human flesh, inked in human blood, and deals with demon resurrection.
Oh yeah, and when they're looking through the book earlier, it's like demon drawings and weird languages that they don't know, they don't understand.
Yeah,
and it's all like red.
It's like gross.
Yeah,
there's like the red dragon drawing in there too.
Yeah.
So as they're listening to this tape, it's talking about how like there's these enduring creatures that may lie dormant but are never truly dead. They may be recalled to active life through the incantations in the book. Through the recitation of these passages, the demons are given license to possess the living. And they're like,
I hate this.
Whoa, guys. Whoa. So they're kind of getting spooked out by it, and Cheryl's like, "Let's turn it off. I don't want to fuck with this." Scotty's being a real jerk, and he's like, "No, let's play it." So he keeps playing it.
It's like,
he
I
wants
love
to
this
skip
fire
to the
mixtape.
end. Yeah, he's like, I really want to see how this ends, so he skips to the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
so when he skips to the end of it, it's this text being read aloud in another language, which I believe is supposed to be Sumerian. It's very spooky, very much, I don't know what's going on, but everyone's very spooked out. It's not a great situation.
Especially fucking, what's her face?
Cheryl.
Cheryl's like, not having a good time.
No.
She just starts screaming, shut it off.
Yeah.
Shut it up.
And at the same time that the tape is being read, or the language is being said on the tape, it cuts to outside and the ground is shaking and there's fog rising from the earth and it gets all glowy and red. So
and very
definitely
ominous.
Yes. But the people inside the cabin don't know that's happening.
Yeah.
No.
They're just like, we feel nothing. Everything's
Cheryl
cool.
definitely does.
Well, Cheryl feels a lot of things.
Cheryl's like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So then she starts screaming, shut it off, and like screaming her head, like just really screaming. So finally, I think Scotty shuts it off, or
a tree crashes through the window.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she's screaming, shut it off. And yes. And then the voice on the tape is like, Kandar. And it's all like ominous and creepy. And like, this dude probably should not have recorded himself reading the book. Let's just say that right now.
Right.
No.
This seems like a terrible idea for someone that like knew what this was.
He's sitting there like, is someone going to find this and play it back?
It's like, no, but it's fine. It's fine. So a tree crashes
he didn't
through
know
the
what
window.
he was doing at the time, though.
That's true. He's like, this could just bring, I don't know, nothing, and
or maybe he was
we'll
possessed.
all be fine.
True.
Maybe he was, or maybe just a jerk.
Yeah, academics.
Yeah. So yeah, the tree crashed through the window, and I'm just like, wait, who's going to pay for that window?
Whose cabin is this?
Whose cabin is this? Was it this dude's cabin? How did they get here?
Yeah.
And then like Ash is like, Scotty, you shouldn't have played that tape. And he's like, you're the one who played it in the first place, because Ash was the first one to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then Scotty's being a real jerk. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, this friggin' window. And it's like, there's a whole ass broken window in your cabin now.
Right.
What are you going to do about it?
Okay. And they just like walk away from it and just pretend it didn't happen, basically. Yeah. Because it's not their cabin. What do they care?
Yeah. They're getting a 1-star review.
It's going
from
to get
this
cold.
Airbnb owner, I'll tell you what.
So again, like all this creepy stuff's happening. And they're like, okay. And then they just go to their rooms to like get ready for bed or whatever. And so Ash and his lady Linda are just kind of hanging out in the room, and Linda's like, I'm going to go check on Cheryl. So she sort of disappears for a minute.
It's great because like that first shot of them on the couch is totally out of focus, and you're like, yep,
nice.
They couldn't do another shot of that. It's very low budget.
They just got the one.
No.
Yeah. So there's a close up of Ash as he's like finding this little like cute little box with little hearts on it that is clearly meant for his lady Linda, and he's being all coy, like pretends to be asleep and is holding the box in his hand. So Linda comes back, and it's again like a 7-minute shot that does not need to be this long.
And
just coming back and forth.
Because it's already established as like a creepy movie. This is really kind of like what's going on? Why is he? I was just like sitting there like, why is he doing it this way? At first I thought he was proposing, and I'm like, why are you doing it this way?
Right. Every woman loves being proposed to by just pretending to be asleep.
By entrapping your loved one into stealing from out of your hand. Because he's like,
He's like, so
I'm
it's
so
like,
asleep, I'm
weird.
asleep. Take it
yeah.
from me.
So it's just close-ups on their eyes, just
Yeah.
like back and forth,
Playing-
just like
playing
her eyes, his
footsie.
eyes. Yeah. But
What?
his eyes are closed, and so it's just like back and forth on like closed eyes for several minutes.
No, he looks at her and then looks
Oh,
away.
yes.
It closes his
It's
eyes
the
when
little,
she's looking.
little
So,
footsies.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
she
my
catches
God.
him, and then he is like, "You stole that from me, my
Yeah.
package."
Little gifty.
But no, he's just a ladies' man. He's cute.
He's being super coy.
Yeah. But no, it's not a proposal. It's just a kind of stupid necklace.
It's a little
it's
glass pendant.
it's a what are those things called? Seeing glasses,
Oh, it's like a
Like a looking
magnifying
glass?
glass, like a
Magnifying
looking
glass?
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
which isn't really explained or used, but it's a magnifying glass necklace.
I do have an explanation for that, but I'll talk about it later on.
I would
'cause-
love
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah. So she puts it on. Great. Smooches. Everybody's
Yeah.
happy. Fantastic. And then we cut to the sort of the demon cam outside the window. And it's just
Demon
like
cam.
Demon
floating
cam.
around.
Yeah.
I
Demon
want it to
cam.
flash in the corner, just like
Yeah.
demon cam.
That'd be
Demon cam.
Yeah.
So it's floating outside the windows and it's like going room by room and like checking in on what people are doing. And it's like, oh,
We
creepy.
got our first bit of nudity in that
Yeah.
first scene. Yeah. There's
Yeah,
always got to be nudity
exactly.
in these movies. At
It's
least
the
like
80s.
a tiny little bit.
Had
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a rule.
Half
Otherwise,
a
they wouldn't
boob.
green light it. Yeah.
Because Scotty and Shelly.
Shelley.
Yeah. Shelly are like, they're just getting changed for bed. It doesn't look like they're
Mhm.
about to do anything. But
Yeah. It's not very sexy at all. It's just
No.
side boob for
Yeah.
the sake of side boob.
Right.
And so, so it's just a little thing floating outside the window and it goes over to Cheryl's room. And then it's like, join us.
No.
And she's like, what? Huh? And she goes outside because she's smart. And she's like, is
Yeah.
anybody there? And she's
She goes
wandering around.
outside, like
Yeah.
into the woods after she hears some creepy voice talking to her outside her window.
saying,
Alone.
join us. She's
And,
like,
like,
I just might.
paired with the tree crashing through the window and your clearly possessed hand, which would be
Yeah.
already
Right.
weird. Why are you going out there?
And she was the one screaming, like, stop the recording. Like, she
Right.
knew shit was up. And she's
Yeah.
like, let's check this out in her bathrobe. So she goes out in her bathrobe. It's a scary looking forest. The moon is completely obscured.
Oh.
It's super foggy.
It's also huge, just gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
Like bigger
The
than
moon
like
is massive.
usually they make the moon pretty
The
big in
moon.
movies, but this is like
It's
like if I saw
obscenely
that,
big.
I'd
It
be
was a
like,
super
it's
moon
coming
that
right for
night.
us. It's out of its orbit. We're done.
The tides will ruin us all. So it's super creepy, whole shebang. Cheryl is like, I know you're out here. I heard you in the cellar. And she's like talking to nothing in the trees, which is a
Ew.
great idea. And then the camera.
Well, she's talking to the trees.
She's talking to the
Mhm.
trees. She's talking to the
Oh my
trees.
God, I don't
And the
get it.
trees, there's a camera that's flying through the camera or through the forest. And the camera's just doing the zoomy thing and sort of sneaking up on her, knocking trees down, knocking branches down. And Cheryl turns around and is like super uber spooked. And then
Yes, that's precisely the tone.
yeah. Then the branches
Finally.
get a little too friendly.
Mm-hmm.
The branches get a little too
What?
friendly, but like forcefully so. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
It's-
not great.
it's
It was not great to see.
Yeah,
No.
it's a very uncomfortable
It's a huge
scene.
deal.
It's probably the most uncomfortable scene in a horror film that I've seen in a while, and I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
weird
Right.
horror movies. But
I
Very
mean, just
unnecessary.
thinking about that.
yeah, very
Ugh.
necessary.
It's the NC-17 version of like The Happening. That's
Yeah.
what
I don't
is
know what you're
happening
talking about.
the triple X version of The Happening, essentially.
So the
Yeah.
tree branches like
Well, wait,
Wrap-
Alenka, you're into anime, right?
I have watched it in my youth, yes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of there's like it's like if you take like the tentacle, stuff.
I didn't
but tree
watch that
branches.
anime.
Again, like vines.
I
And,
didn't watch
yeah.
that type.
But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows what
yeah.
you're
So
talking
there's
about.
some
She gets
some very
wrecked by
friendly
a tree branch,
trees.
though, for real.
She by
Like,
like
is that what you're
several
saying?
like vines and like she gets
Yeah.
wrecked.
And it's completely unnecessary. I know it's supposed to be like the demon is possessing her, like
That's
by
weird.
like
really
being
getting in there.
Yeah. But like we clearly see later the demon can possess other ways.
Yeah.
Right.
And apparently Sam Raimi has like said that he kind of regrets putting the scene in the movie. He's like, maybe
He
in
was
hindsight,
really into anime
should
back
not
then.
have done that one.
I thought that the branches, when they like wrap around her like limbs, are cool.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I actually would be really
Should've
interested
ended
how
there.
they do it, because even like
Huh.
even just before when the branches are like moving towards her,
Yeah.
like practically, like how did they do that?
Exactly. There's some really cool practical effects in there.
Yeah.
And then we'll just yada, yada, yada
Yeah,
over
yeah,
what
yada,
happens with
yada,
those
yada.
practical effects.
Yep,
Nice.
And then Cheryl breaks
we already
free
spent too
eventually.
long on the scene already.
Yep.
so-
Cheryl breaks free. She manages to sort of break free and she's running away and the camera's chasing her. And the forest is alive with the sounds of screaming. She's running back,
she
trying to
classically
escape.
runs and falls over, trips
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Trips over something that may or may not be
There's
there.
also like very
You have
obvious
to.
like film lights in the forest, like
Yeah.
shining. Like it's not the cabin. It's just like
Aw.
this is supposed to be the moonlight, but on both sides, just shining
Yeah.
like right through the trees.
So she's running back. She gets back to the cabin and she's like trying to find the keys above the door because for whatever reason they locked the door and then put the keys outside on top of it
Yeah.
somehow.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
Well, maybe she went through her
They
window
locked it from the
to get
inside.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But she so she gets back and she's trying to grab the keys and like it's coming up behind her and she's trying to grab the keys and it's coming up behind her and it's getting really tense.
But
And
not only
then
did they lock the door to put the keys up, but they also like the key is
It's, like,
jammed in the door,
jammed. They,
kind
like,
of, and
wedged
that's why
it.
she
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. It's very
So she-
elaborate.
and then she does get the keys and she's really bad at doors. She can't quite
Right.
figure out how to like get
Yeah,
the key in the door to open the door. And then at the last second before the camera's about to like get her, Ash like pulls her in the door and the forest demon is literally like, ah, shucks. And then the camera just
Well,
turns
the,
her.
the
It's
forest
just
demon
like-
goes, no, like Vader, like very
Yeah.
Darth Vader. Like,
What?
no. And goes
Really?
And
away.
it just pulls back. It's like,
Yes.
all right.
Well,
yeah, it just backs off.
doesn't raise his fist like Vader
It says
because
no,
he's
though?
a body, not
It
body.
just kind of goes like, oh, like there's
Yeah.
there's an audible sound of like disappointment.
Really?
It's
Come
fantastic.
on.
So then it's like, oh shucks, it backs off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Um,
obviously she is traumatized and wants to go home.
A little
Right.
distraught.
Just immediately gaslight and ignore
Yeah.
ignore her,
Totally, yeah.
even though she's like
Sweet.
literally just like completely cut up and like she
Ah.
didn't do this to herself.
No,
Like,
she's
it's
right,
pretty
right,
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
And
the
then she
fuck?
asks, go ahead.
Yeah, so she asks them to take her into town, and the only person that is willing to take her into town is Ash, obviously, because
He's a good
Bunch of
dude.
fucking
yes, because he's a
pricks.
good guy. So, but he's still like kind of aggravated about the situation. So they
Okay.
get into his car, and they are driving along the road, and
Oh,
Cheryl.
but first, the car won't start.
Oh yeah,
The car won't start. And Cheryl's like, it's
Solid.
not going to let us leave. I know it's not going to let us leave. And then the car starts. And she's like, dang, like, cool, but dang.
Just kidding.
I was
And-
close.
yeah.
Yeah, the car proved me wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're driving along. Bri.
Yeah, so they're driving along, and Cheryl's freaking out, not doing well, and Ash suddenly stops the car and gets out of it, and doesn't really explain what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
Just
Cheryl-
walks away
just like-
into the mist.
yeah,
What?
like he expresses like disappointment, but doesn't say why, like what's going on or anything. So leaves his sister like in this car alone, like in the middle of the night, like
After she's been
What?
traumatized by
Yeah.
whatever is in the woods and she's like, someone must help me. He's like, you stay here. I'm going to wander for a minute.
What?
mhm.
And then we discover, because Cheryl gets out, she follows, she's not thrilled about it, but she gets out to check it out. And to quote the cinematic classic, True Lies, the bridge is out.
Huh?
So the bridge is destroyed.
Alenka
This
doesn't
bridge.
understand that
I know.
reference.
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm a piece
You
of
can only
The bridge.
self-reference this movie later on after we already told her about it.
Yeah.
The bridge is destroyed. They're not getting across that bridge in their car anytime soon. They're like, ah, shit, we're stuck here.
So then
Cheryl's like, I know. I told you it's not going to let us go. I knew it's not going to let us go.
So then they return home very upset because, you know, I don't know if Ash thinks that there's stuff going on at this point. Obviously, Cheryl thinks there's stuff going on. So they
He's a
return.
strong silent
Right.
type. Yeah.
Yeah. They return to the cabin and they decide to reconsult the tapes and listen to more of the tapes.
Which is like, you should have done that before playing the other part.
Ash is the only one listening. He's the only one who's listened to this portion of the tape, which I think is kind of significant because he's like the only one who really knows, right?
True,
he has the headphone in.
He has the headphone in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is the academic guy is talking about after he has recited this curse, his wife, who was also with him, has become possessed by a demon.
Nice.
And he is talking about like how people can kill them and like how that's been, because obviously it's not been great. And he says that you can only kill them by cutting off their body parts, dismembering them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. And meanwhile,
so when we
Shelley
say all
and
of
Linda,
them, though, do we mean like each finger, then the hand, then the elbow, then the arm? Or
To be
like...
sure, I think that would be the best method.
Yeah.
that would be the best method. I think that's in general in life.
Yeah, I think cutting off all the limbs, that's like going to get you like 90% efficacy or something.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's what it is. Yeah.
So Linda and Shelley are playing cards and they're like, Linda's trying to guess what's on the card and Shelley's just like, yeah, you got it. Woo. Just lying to her. And then as Cheryl's in the background being very distraught looking out the window, she starts reciting what's on the cards and she's not looking. So they're like, oh no, what's happening? And they turn around and Cheryl is super duper possessed, like floating, like facially messed up. Her voice hits demon puberty.
What?
Like she's
this
doing
is where
all
it
sorts
starts to
of
get pretty scary.
Come
This
on.
is like when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, I'm spooked." I was not expecting to be actually spooked in a early 80s movie.
And her body is being like yanked around in the air by this demonic force. So it's very scary, very disgusting. Her face looks absolutely disgusting.
Why? What happened to it?
She's possessed.
She's
when you
super
become
possessed.
a demon, you're ugly, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then her body sort of like falls down. She lies down and everyone's like, oh no, we should check this out. Yeah. So they kind of go over and it turns out she was playing possum and she turns around and she stabs Linda in the ankle with a pencil and it like really digs it in there and it's like really gross. And she's like, again, like it's a long shot of the stabbing of the ankle.
It's just like moving around, bleeding. Yeah, it's really bad.
And then everyone is like screaming and it's like chaos from that point.
Right.
So she goes and she like attacks everyone and she's just like jumping on people and like they're just like absolutely don't know what to do. And my favorite part about this is that Ash like runs into the shelf and the shelf collapses on him and he's like stuck under the shelf.
Like a shelf that when he is like clearly not that heavy, but then he's like, I can't get up.
Oh no.
Also, first time he crashes into a shelf
the
this
first
movie.
time, yes. And like people are like,
multiple.
Ash, help. And he's like, no, I can't. I'm trapped under this.
He's like, sorry, I'm
weighted
busy.
shelf.
That's when Scotty just boots her into the cellar. Just a nice.
For once in his life, does the right thing.
Yeah.
So the cellar that they kept seeing crash and open and closing.
They open, he kicks her in. It's like a really funny kick, actually, because he like swings it up and it like goes way up there. It's very dramatic. And so knocks her into the cellar and then he chains the door. He's like standing on top of the door and she's trying to bang her way through. And he like is frantically working the chain and manages to chain the door.
Another long shot where it's again, it's like there's no cutting. It's just like, let's watch him chain the whole thing. The whole process.
Nice.
As long as it takes.
Just so that we know it's chained.
And then everyone kind of comes to the realization, they're like, well, we can't leave, so that's a bummer.
Right.
The bridge is out.
The bridge is out. What are we going to do?
And because it's Linda, right? She gets stabbed in the so her foot is like ankle. She can't do anything.
Because after they chain her up, I'm pretty sure Ash or Scott, one of them is putting wood in the fire. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's just sit around the fireplace after what just fucking happened.
Just a typical Saturday night
to de-stress. Like lighting a candle.
Also,
fun fact.
Whenever it's like cutting, it's like a bit of passage of time. They cut and you see the moon and it's always being like fogged up with black, like smoky spooky moon sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, fun fact, they filmed it in an actual cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee. And they filmed in Tennessee because they're from Michigan and they thought it's going to be too cold in the winter in Michigan. Let's film in Tennessee. Turned out they had like one of the coldest winters on record. And by the end of the film, they were like throwing props and furniture into the fire to keep warm in this house as they're filming the movie.
Oh my God.
Because it was so damn cold, they couldn't take it.
Wow.
But so there's a lot of cool like demon point of view shots in this movie, and this is another one of them. After they're like, oh, we can't leave, let's stoke the fire and hang out for a bit and have a lengthy conversation about like what we're going to do about the fact that we can't leave. And it's like it's all from Cheryl's view, so it's like just in the cellar, just like you see the floor and you see the lid of it, and just sort of like following them around, watching what they're doing, which is kind of adorable actually. The idea of the little demon just being like, what's happening?
She's very mischievous.
Yeah, exactly. What's happening, fellas?
You guys are making this so much cuter than I think it's supposed to be. And now I'm going to probably watch it and be terrified.
Movie, though. It's like,
come on,
grunge cute.
Yeah.
Or like disgusting cute.
It's pretty cute. It's something. But so Shelley goes to bed, but the demon camera crashes through the window, and he's like, shoot.
Yikes.
So Shelley's gone missing, and Scott's like, crap, where's Shelley? So he's looking for her. She's not in her room, she's not in the shower, but she is in the bathroom. So as he turns around, she's suddenly right there, and she scratches his face to shit while in the cellar, Cheryl's just like living for it. She's like, like having a blast. Queen, like she's having a blast.
Stop.
I was gonna say, like, everyone, like, while he's looking for Shelley, like, everyone moves around in this movie like it's like a first-person puzzle game. Like, it's just like,
oh, funny.
Like, what's going on here?
So Scotty's being attacked by Shelley, and he sort of throws her into this recently stoked fire, and then notices that she's being all burned up, and I guess he feels a little bad about it, so he's like, and pulls her back out of the fire.
Because it is still his girlfriend, which is a main point of
like,
this.
You should feel
like
bad
demons,
when you throw her in the fight.
Exactly. You should feel a little bit of remorse for that, even after she scratched your face up and is clearly turned into a demon.
I believe at this point is also our second Ash being thrown into a shelf.
Yeah.
What?
And then he's trapped under the shelf, and once again he's like, I can't move. While Shelley is like on top of Scotty, I think choking him or like
and like pushing him towards the fire, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and she's there. Everyone is like, join us, and it's all like super dramatic. And she tries to stab him with the Kandarian dagger that somehow she has for some reason, but he
because they
pulls
brought
out
everything up.
Oh, that's
easily.
right. I guess she just like grabbed it and just like, here it is. She's resourceful, this demon. But Scotty pulls out his own knife, and he's like sawing her hand off.
Knife.
Yeah.
He's like, he pulls it from the back, and like, he's been packing a back
Scotty.
holster this entire time.
This whole time, Scotty.
He didn't seem like a woodsman to me. That's why.
No, definitely not, in my opinion.
But he seems like a punk, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah, gets in a lot of fights. That man.
Yeah, so he stabs her arm that is holding the dagger, and she like retreats her arm, and she's like, but then she starts gnawing her arm off, and it's like disgusting, and it's like right there.
Bloody.
Yeah, and
wait, why?
She like gnaws it off.
But why? Why would she gnaw her arm off?
Demons.
It literally doesn't make sense.
Because demons.
I think it's a power move. She's just like, you think you can cut my arm off? Fuck you! I will bite it off, motherfucker.
Yeah. See if I care.
Yeah.
I don't need this. So
then that arm that she gnaws off stabs herself.
Okay.
It's still holding a knife.
It's still holding the knife and stabs her in the back with her own knife.
He stabs her with her arm
hand
holding the knife.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she
starts melting like Wicked Witch of the West style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With milk.
with
yes,
milk.
she starts
milk?
oozing milk everywhere. 2% to be exact.
Mhm.
Come on.
Which I feel is
No.
a miss prop. I feel like it should have been whole milk, personally.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
think it's not supposed to be actual milk. Is it supposed to be like pus, or is it just supposed to be
It was supposed to be
demon
because
juice?
it was supposed to be like sort of demon juice because they wanted to make it like extra supernatural and also try and make it so they could be really gross and gory, but without having too much blood to piss off the censors. So they're like, milk?
Yeah.
And then
change it up.
Got milk?
Why not?
Got milk? Why not? It's
Yeah.
here. We found it in the fridge.
Along
Why
with the
not?
blender.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just like
Okay.
blood, but also white shit just oozing
Yeah.
out of
Oh, fuck.
everything, her arm and
Yeah.
her face. So that's why
Okay.
there's milk in the drink, Alenka.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay.
So then she's melted on the ground, basically, but she still like
Mhm.
got her body form and she's dead. Or so they thought, because
fuck?
then once again they huddle around her and then she attacks them again.
Come
Um,
on.
She attacks Scott and he's kind of ready this time and he has an axe now. And
He got
Okay.
the axe from Ash. She was just standing there like,
Oh yeah, they have
uh-oh.
these Ash reaction shots where he's like
Yeah.
Ash, and he's like the whole time, just back and forth. Him like, I don't know what to do.
And then 3 minutes later, he grabs the axe from
Yeah.
Ash.
Yeah.
Three full minutes. We all know how long that is.
Mhm. And this time he does axe all of her body parts.
Oh yeah.
So she's just a torso and then all of these limbs floating around and they're all like flailing
Full
on the
dismemberment.
ground like fish.
Yeah.
What?
It's super effective, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then-
But if they
Okay.
had done what you said,
Mm,
Alenka,
Right.
it would have been far more effective.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would think, like when the
You gotta
teacher
get
gives
those
an
fingies.
assignment and
Yeah,
you're like,
those
hold
fingers.
on. What are the details of the assignment? They weren't clear enough.
So they then proceed to bury Shelley, which I
Yes.
thought was hilarious because
Her pile of limbs.
Scott had time to make a cross for it.
Yeah. Bless him.
But yeah, I guess
Did
it
the
is his
right thing.
girlfriend, but it's kind
Yeah.
of funny. It's like, and here's
just
the
so they
cross
can-
I made.
Just so they can keep track of the body. So,
Yeah.
like, this is where we
Right.
left her.
Exactly. Yeah.
This moves from the spot. We know we're in trouble.
Mhm.
But they're like, okay, there's got to be another way out of here. There's got to be another way other than this stupid bridge that is destroyed. And Scott, again, true to character, is kind of being a bit of a dick. He's like, let's just get out of here. I think there's a trail or something. We'll just go. And Ash is like, we can't. Linda, she can't walk, you see, on account of the leg being
The
injured.
lead poisoning.
Right.
Yeah.
So and Scott is like, that's fine, we'll leave her behind, we'll come back for her later.
Oh.
And Ash is like, no, we're
Yeah,
not
that's
doing
insane.
that. So
Shelley
Did
is
you forget
still
him? Yeah.
in the cellar, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
Cheryl,
Or
Cheryl, yeah.
Cheryl's in
Oh,
the
yeah,
cellar
yeah.
this
Yeah.
whole time.
Did you
This whole
forget about our
time.
demon friend down there? What are we gonna do?
Scotty is
But
just
so
not right.
yeah. So he decides to go off to see if he can find help or something. And Ash goes to check on Linda. And Linda's leg is like super infected with demons. It's like he pulls back the sheet and it's all these spider webs of like black grossness
Yeah.
coming out of the wound
What?
across her
So it was
leg.
a spooky pencil. Like
It was,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know, because
Yeah.
I guess
The
that's how they
pencil was
transferred it
also-
from the
yeah.
Pencil was
hand
made of
into
the wood
pencil
from the
into
forest.
ankle. Yeah,
That's
There you
right.
go.
There you
Yeah.
go. Right there, Alenka, you got it.
You know.
So Scott does not make it far. He kind of comes back and is like very, very wounded.
Oh.
Linda
Now,
now.
not to
What?
bring this back up,
Mhm.
but what happened to Scotty? Was it the same thing that happened to Cheryl?
Probably.
For the sake of equality, I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I
So
mean,
he
he
just comes
definitely was
back
attacked by some trees.
Shredded.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh yeah. Yeah. Shredded. Just
Shred- yeah.
not having fun.
And
And Lynn.
he collides with Ash while Ash is like running away from his demon girlfriend. So
Because she's
in the
super
middle
possessed.
of demon Linda, he now has to deal with his dying friend, and that like takes like a large portion of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so Scott is
Poor
like,
Ash.
again, super racked. And he's like, there is another way out. It's down the trail, but the trees, they'll know. Like, we can't go there because the trees will
The
be,
trees are alive.
they're on to
So
us.
Yeah.
They're on to us.
Yeah,
And
all this-
also, like, Linda is just like I don't know. This demon is weird because at one point Linda's is it because her legs still can't work? She's just sitting cross-legged in the door frame, like mocking them for a
just
while.
like laughing and like singing
It's the
a creepy
most
little
annoying
girl song.
laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, she's like got like Harley Quinn kind of like almost like
doll
makeup,
face makeup,
going
yeah,
on at this
yeah.
point.
What?
And her hair gets all curly all of a sudden too. It's just like, if that's what being a demon does to your hair, you sign me up.
She's
But,
ready to go.
I wish she didn't have the devil's curly hair.
So, Linda's just sitting there laughing, and Cheryl's like, kill her if you can, lover boy, because Ash is super upset about all of this that's going down.
Also, Scotty's like dying on the couch. And again,
Yeah.
I noted this because I was like, why are you doing this? Ash like stokes the fire in the. That
He was
not the
also-
time.
he was also like
He wants
slapping
to
the crap out of
de-stress.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He slaps the crap out of Scotty. He's just like, stop it. No, wake up. He's like smacking.
Like his body is like barely being held together with all the
Yeah.
like tree
fucking
injuries.
thrashing him around. Yeah.
Really? Ugh.
But then suddenly, Linda seems to be okay. She's like back to normal. And she's like, don't let them take me away again. And like Cheryl's okay too all of a sudden. It's all very suspicious, by the way. Because they're just like, they seem to suddenly be okay. And they're like, let me out of the cellar, dear brother of mine. She doesn't say that, but we'll just say she says that. I'm fine now. And Ash takes out the keys because like he's pretty
thinking
trusting
about it.
apparently. Like
Yeah.
he's like, well, like
He
he's
may
thinking
be
about it.
cute, but he does not have brains.
No.
But then twist. No, twist. Not really. Cheryl is not all right. So he's over there. He's just like about to kind of get the key out. And then Cheryl's like, haha. And I think she grabs his ankle or something.
Yeah, she bursts her arms through the floorboards and grabs
yeah.
his feet.
So if she could burst through the floorboards, why
Actually
hasn't she
grabs his
done
face.
this already? Like,
That's a good point.
burst out.
'Cause the demons want to play. They want to.
Yeah,
They,
Because she's
they love
mischievous.
dramatic. Yeah. Demons
makes
are
sense.
super melodramatic. They really need to
Yeah.
like create a scene every time they do
Right.
anything. Is what we're learning from
They
this
really
whole
are
movie.
the most dramatic demons.
It's
Like they're
true.
always like pretending to be dead and
They
think
are.
it's so funny.
I don't know if it was like, I think this is before, but like Scotty and Ash have this like man to man, like heart to heart. They're like, he's like, they're talking. They have like a conversation. And I don't know why he's like, no, man, like you're going to be fine. We're going to like, we're going to get out of here. But I don't know why. I just thought of like Titanic. It was just like, no, Scotty, you're going to be an old man warm in your bed.
So then the two demons are like pestering him. Like they're just
Yeah.
taunting him, being like, haha, we're demons and now your relatives and all your friends are dead.
Yeah.
Ha, ha,
At this
ha.
point, I'm still wondering why Linda Demon is not attacking him yet.
Right.
Yeah,
She
no,
really
they're
hasn't-
not
That's what I
attacking
was
him
thinking.
really, even though they
No.
totally could.
It's just he's too cute. They're like, we can't wreck that face though.
No, absolutely. And also, it's never explained why he cannot, why he never gets possessed either. But
Yeah.
I feel like they
We can speculate, I
don't really
guess.
want him
Yeah.
to be a demon. They just kind of want to bug him. They're just like, we don't want you to
That's what the
join
whole
Just,
us.
like,
franchise is
rude.
about. Is just like
Yeah,
Ash
just, like,
versus the annoying demon.
just to piss him off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But so Ash drags Linda outside by the ankles.
which that's gonna stop her. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
drag you outside. I'm gonna close the door into our cabin
Just,
with
like,
two
leave you
broken
here.
windows.
Right.
Yeah.
that
And then he
took care
goes
of the
to give
problem.
and then he goes to give Scott some water, and he's like giving Scott water, and Scott is like clearly
He's-
dead.
He's
Yeah.
gone.
Super
Oh.
dead, like very, very
Oh,
dead.
no.
And he's just like trying to, it just doesn't really clue in because again, sweet darling, but
trauma.
yeah, he dead.
And then while Ash is dealing with the trauma of his friend dying right there, Linda
Mhm.
comes out of nowhere and stabs him and
It's
attacks
very
him.
rude.
He
Very
had
rude.
so much time to do something about that while
Yeah.
she was not attacking him. But
He's probably tending to the fire.
I guess it is his girlfriend,
Yeah.
and it's hard to kill your loved ones. That's
He
the
really
lesson.
didn't think that like she could get back in after he dragged her
Yeah,
outside.
he's like, but I
Yeah.
could.
That's
Again,
a pretty
so
like,
many,
good security.
yeah, so many broken windows again.
which
boy.
like I think about again later when we get to it. But
So then Ash makes her like they're struggling and she's on top of him and pestering him, probably still laughing. And then
They're like,
he,
join us.
yes. And then
Yeah.
he pushes her backwards and she falls onto the Sumerian knife, I believe.
Yes.
Mm.
And then after that, she's doing that melty thing and she's spewing the milk.
Milky.
She's all milky.
Nice.
She's a
Spewing the
Milky Way.
milk.
And knowing what Ash knows, this probably is not the end. So he drags her body to the barn that they went to earlier, and he straps her to this table. And
It's made for strapping a person too, by the way.
Well, we've
like it's
already-
got the strappy things on all the corners,
Yeah.
perfect for cutting body
I
parts
feel like
off. I
this
guess.
cabin is not this is not the first time this cabin has seen these sort of events go down.
No.
Well, I mean, there was also the chain on the cellar door already. So, like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
I mean, that dude was there, so he
Yeah,
probably
with his wife. Yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah.
probably
With his
brought in
possessed
the
wife.
table for
Mhm.
the chopping of the bodies.
Yeah.
For his shopping of his possessed wife.
Yeah, probably.
So he chains her down on this table that the other guy so lovingly left for him, and he like revs up this chainsaw, and he's about to cut her up with this chainsaw. And by the way, that was a real chainsaw they used.
Oh my
Like
God.
that was not like
Oh,
a fake
God.
chainsaw.
I know.
Like she's like,
I can tell. Yes.
Yeah.
God. Oh my
Hope it
God.
was worth it for this movie.
Yeah. But the necklace that he gave her, she's still wearing, and he gets a little bit emotional because he loved her, and he's like, I can't do this because I love her.
Ugh.
So he's just gonna bury her alive instead. That's probably a better
Okay.
way to do this, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Also, like, it takes a long time to dig a hole that big.
Yes.
I know.
Again.
Yeah, but they insist on burying everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They're
And
good.
then he's got to make the cross to go over the
Yeah,
grave too.
they're-
Right.
They need that scene where he's got strapped this cross together.
Meanwhile, Scotty's just probably like, I don't know, in the lake somewhere, like just like got rid of his body. We don't see
Yeah.
Scotty again. Like he just disappears.
We don't care.
Oh, we do.
We do.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
You're right. I
It's
take
kind
that
of hard to
back.
tell near the
It is
end.
kinda
It's all
hard to
just
tell.
like chaos.
So Cheryl's busting out of the basement. Linda's busting out of the ground. And Ash is like,
Does he
Oh.
get free?
He sees her necklace on the ground after he buries
Yes.
her. Important.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
And then
So-
her arm, Linda, when he's still outside, she grabs him. So, which is a total waste of all that effort he just did to
Yeah.
dig that grave. She ruins it in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
that very
While-
shallow grave.
Yeah. And
And then
then,
he
and then they're struggling once again. She's on top of him, and he beheads her
Nice.
with the shovel.
Yeah.
And then
Yikes.
she was on top of him when that happened, and her neck is like spewing blood
Oh, yeah.
all over his
Mm,
face,
yeah.
like right into his face.
Prior to this, when he's like burying her, like while he's digging, they do the eye thing again. They bring that back, right? Where like he looks and her eyes are open but then closed. Like they bring that
Oh,
back.
yeah, they do bring
Really?
that back.
Because
That's
after that, I'm
right.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why they did it the first time. That's why they did that weird
Ah,
thing so they
good
could bring it back.
point. I never made that connection to that. I was just like, oh, she's just being sneaky
But
and
now
not
it's a
really
creepy.
dead.
Yeah.
But now it's
Yeah.
And also, like, when they're struggling, he's like beating her with like this mysteriously lightweight beam that he just found on the ground.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like this massive, massive piece of wood that he's just like
It's just
whacking
a
her
piece of
with.
foam, yeah.
Just a piece of foam, clearly. Or it's either like super mysteriously lightweight or he's like super strong. Could be that.
It's the shoulders, yeah. It's,
Yeah,
The
it's just the
shoulders.
Yeah. So then he goes back into the cabin. He sees that the cellar door is bust open. So he's like, oh, this again.
yeah, man, keep an eye on your fucking demons.
Yeah.
Like, what is
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah. And instead of looking for Cheryl, Cheryl.
Cheryl.
He decides to go into the cellar. He's going to get the shotgun, and he needs more shotgun shells for the shotgun. And while he's walking in the cellar, suddenly this pipe above him bursts open onto him, and it's just spewing blood like all
Oh,
over
yeah.
him. That's another big
No.
theme, just him getting pelted with blood,
blood.
through this entire movie.
Right in the face.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
while that pipe is spewing blood, like everything all over the house is spewing blood. The light bulbs are filling up with blood. he like walks in front of this projector that is downstairs
Suddenly
for some
turned
reason.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, it suddenly turns on and it's like shining in his face, blinding him, and then the blood is dripping down the projector, so it's like projecting the blood.
Like the blood drip,
Now on
which
his
is like,
face.
it's like some dude, some of the cinematographer, someone was just like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wonder how I
Absolutely.
can work
That's
that
exactly
into the
what
movie
happened.
somehow.
But like
Yeah.
poor Ash is at the end of his wits at this
Yeah.
point. He's at his wits end, just like
Yeah.
super frustrated. He's
Yeah.
like, I can't freaking win.
Yeah. They do that really cool upside down shot where they kind of like, it's like him upside down, they're following him, and then they go
Oh.
over him and then back upright. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
something
There's
you
a
would
lot
not
of really-
expect out of this movie. Like,
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of really cool camera work in this one, actually.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well
immediately
done.
a Dutch angle. It's just like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
as he's walking through. But what was funny about this whole scene is that all of this shit has happened to him, right?
Mhm.
And the thing that he screams in horror at are the fucking window shutters flapping.
Yeah.
He's like, ah, and you're like, you literally murdered your own girlfriend.
This
But
was
this
the
is what
breaking
gets you.
point.
This is the
Yeah.
yeah. This is the shutter that broke Ash's back. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, doesn't he touch the window at one
Yeah.
point? And it's like a
The
puddle,
mirror.
like his hand just
The
on the
mirror,
mirror.
yeah.
mirror,
That
yeah.
part was awesome.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And like he did not appreciate that. He was pretty unhappy about that fact.
He's
I
straight
hate
up
when my
about that.
mirrors
He was-
become puddles.
Yeah, he's like, ah! He's very upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the clocks are also going crazy. They're all tick-tocking all over the place.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
spooky stuff
What the fuck is
happening
going
in this
on?
house. And then all of a sudden it stops.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
we're done being spooky now.
But
And
then he
then-
finds Linda's necklace in his pocket,
Yes.
doesn't he? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And that kind of like sobers him up for a second. He's like, oh, yeah.
Mhm. He's like
These
sitting
window
on the
shutters aren't
ground,
scary
just
anymore.
thinking
Yeah.
about things.
Where is
Probably
he
thinking about
finding
that
the
night.
time to do this? Like, are they not running
He's
after
making
him?
his time.
I'm just
This
so
is what I'm thinking the
confused.
entire movie.
This is the true definition of like take time for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, slow
And then-
down.
So Cheryl attacks him, right? At some point?
Yes. She
Yes.
she breaks her arms through the wall behind
yes.
him and
Yeah.
grabs him.
Grabs his face
Because
and it's
he's
like,
just
"Join
sitting there."
us."
Yeah.
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 She's
Just
got
chilling.
fists of
Yeah.
steel. She can just right through.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
so he like shoots her a few times, but like gets her outside
Yeah.
the door.
Mhm.
He closes
kinda
the
like,
door and then he's like, oh, he like holds the door. And then it's like he has this like he talks to himself and he's like, oh, the back door. And then he like runs to the back door to lock that. And it's just like, dude, there's 2 broken windows in this cabin. These doors aren't saving you.
The least of your
Oh.
problems.
Yeah, and then Demon Scotty comes
Yeah.
back.
He
Well,
turns
this
into
is
a
his
demon.
first time actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
he's,
Right.
he's
here.
back as
Yeah.
Scotty, but he's a
Introducing
demon
Scotty
now.
now.
Scotty,
Introducing
yeah.
Scotty, yeah. And he's choking Ash, and he's super strong because he's a demon now. And Ash like thumbs his eyes
Yeah.
out. And it's all very
Ooh,
bloody and
because
cool.
he's a man now too.
Yeah,
Yes.
He's not a weak
he's
person
not
who
a
can
sweet
barely
little
hand
precious
over
baby.
the axe.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's just manned up. It was all the necklace that he found. He
Yeah.
had that moment to take that self care, and he's like, you know what?
Right.
I'm going to be my best self today.
See
Yeah.
what happens? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're fighting, and then Ash pulls like a stick or something from his stomach, out from Scotty's stomach, and it just like blood shoots out of the hole all
Mhm.
over Ash
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Nice.
Just like,
Just like a,
Right
it's like
into
Wave
his
thing.
face.
it's essentially probably just like a hose with like blood, like fake blood,
Yeah,
just spewing
yeah.
out of this hole because it literally just like out straight line. Very Tarantino-esque.
yeah,
Right
yeah.
before Tarantino, I guess.
So
Cheryl-
then,
Mhm.
oh, well, I was going to talk about the book.
Go for it.
So then Ash, while Scotty is like writhing on the ground blind, he sees the book of the dead. Very fleshy. And
Right.
suddenly, Cheryl's demon hands once again break through the wall. Or, yeah.
The door, I think.
Yeah. Through the door. Again, 2 open windows, but
Yeah.
let's go through the door.
Door's
or
the way to
wall.
go.
The demons are coming back and they're attacking him.
They're
And
afraid of cutting themselves
he's
on
trying
glass,
to get to the book and they're dragging him behind And then he takes the necklace out and he uses the necklace to like hook onto the
lasso.
book. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he can like just barely do it, but he gets the book like as he's being dragged away. And this is also happening like right in front of the fireplace. So he takes the book when he gets it, he just tosses it right back into the fireplace.
Yeah.
And then like all the demons start like melting, and it's this really cool like claymation scene. Actually, there's lots of really fun claymation, excellent practical effects all around. It's really like goopy and like
almost
milky
added blue carousel to this drink because of this scene, but I didn't because I was like, that just too much now.
So yeah, there's excellent practical effects. He's looking at them, they're looking at him, and he's looking at them, and they're looking at him, and then this goes on for a couple minutes.
Yeah, demon arms like burst out of the demon chests.
Yeah,
that aren't their
like
arms. They're like
demon,
some
like
other,
claw.
like I guess they're inner demons. And when they burst through their chests,
this movie's a
they
metaphor.
spew Ash's face once again with blood from their stomachs. So
Sam Raimi loves to do that to Bruce
last
Campbell.
thing.
He just freaking loves it.
It's part of his contract.
So the demon head's like,
yeah,
exactly. Like, you will get at least 5 shots of blood in your
Bruce
face.
Like, Sam, can we just negotiate down to 8? Like, no, we need 15. Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems. Bri, go ahead.
Yes, sudden. This is so-called over. Ash is like, finally, the demons are gone. Dawn is breaking. It's starting to get light outside. He starts walking outside and still not really sure what he's going to do because there's still nowhere to go. Yep. And then once again, the final shot, that chaotic demon cam is like going all through the forest, going through the house like 1,000,000 miles per hour. And then it goes out the front door that Ash is walking through and basically flies right into his face, and like he turns around and he sees it and he screams, and that's the end.
Yeah.
What?
That's the end of the movie.
Yep.
Come on.
That's the end.
He turns around to
it like zooms right into his mouth.
Yeah, that ending was like, this is the only movie we're making of this this character. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and there's so much more.
Fun facts.
Actually, before fun fact, there is nothing in those tapes that mentions destroying the book. Why did he just go, this is going to work?
Right.
That's,
right.
Because the book, it's not like the book ever moves on its own. It's not like the book ever goes like, the skin goes like, oh, it's a monster. It's just a book.
Right.
And it's like,
it's not the Hocus Pocus book. Yeah.
You destroy the book. You destroy the demons, I guess. That just came into his mind. So,
well, his character also
so
didn't.
The thing with the necklace.
Well, sorry. His character just didn't like make up for the fact that there's 2 broken windows. So he's just an outside of the box thinker.
He is, yeah.
But that final shot, apparently, when Ash is like, when it's attacked by the surviving demon, is they mounted a camera on a tripod, then mounted that tripod on a motorcycle and drove it through the forest, through the cabin, and deliberately into Bruce Campbell.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And he like broke some ribs in the process.
Oh my God.
Excuse me.
Sam, they were best friends too. Like, would you let your best friend do that to you? I don't know.
Oh, there was
they
also
have a great
scene
relationship.
Where,
honestly,
there was a scene where like a cameraman like ran into Bruce Campbell by accident, like knocked out a couple of his teeth. Like he got like beat to hell through the making of this movie.
Remember, they're like literally in the middle of the woods. Like,
right.
I mean, honestly,
probably dozens of miles away from like the nearest hospital.
Possibly killed him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we make Zach, our friend Zach, do a lot of shit for our sketch videos. So I'm sure Sam probably made Bruce do whatever he wanted because, they're good friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently Ash was intended to die at the end when he gets attacked by the demon thingy. But it was changed when Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell returned to make Evil Dead 2. But the thing was, they had sold the distribution rights of Evil Dead to New Line Cinema for an incredibly low price. So when they made Evil Dead 2, because they thought there's no need for a sequel. So when they made Evil Dead 2, they couldn't use any of the footage from the first film to be like last time on. They had to sort of like remake their own footage with it. And they were able to do that because they claimed to have neglected to sell the rights to the storyline and the characters. So they didn't have the rights to the movie, but they still had the rights to like the intellectual property of it. So that's how they were able to do a sequel with it.
Nice.
And they basically just undo the ending of the first one, and they're like, really?
Yeah.
We're trying this again.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
they
like,
just sort of like take
what?
2.
They started and it's just like Bruce Campbell there, like holding the ghost demon, just like holding the air, like, and then eats it or something, you know? Is that how it starts?
Does he? Don't say that. I believed you.
I haven't seen the second one.
Well, the thing with the necklace as well is the reason that they have the necklace be such a significant part of the movie is because originally in the script, Ash destroys the book by using a little magnifying glass with sunlight to like burn.
You're kidding.
But then they're like, "Oh, this is not going to work."
I cannot believe you just said that. With that small magnifying glass.
Oh my God.
They're like, they had the plans for them. They're like, this is not going to work. So we've already spent so much time. Yeah,
it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now why he kept stoking the fire and making sure the fire was going. He just needed to be used at some point.
See,
we've solved the mystery.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that movie.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm
What'd you
really
think, Lisa?
surprised.
Yeah.
My thoughts are 1, what the fuck? 2, I have so many questions and I'm a little I don't know, seems like so much of this movie was like an afterthought. Like, what do you think the main purpose of it while they were filming it was? Like, let's get as much blood on his face as possible.
I think they were thinking, this seems like a fun idea. Let's do this.
Right.
We've got friends that are free this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think that like it focuses a lot on trauma, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it started perhaps as, but
yeah. And the idea that like the traumatic experience of like seeing all this happen to your friends. And I think apparently there was more in the film that dealt with that emotion
30
that was
whole
cut
minutes.
out. Yeah,
can you
30
imagine?
minutes. How much of it is of just like looking at something or walking slowly?
Yeah, at least 20 of those minutes was that. Just like, we had like 4 hours of floating camera footage, but
this is what we chose.
Yeah.
Release the Raimi cut.
I'm very curious, and I think I might have to look online to see what kind of gifs there are of it, to see how gory it is and see if I can handle it. But I'm curious.
It's also
and I
like
want to know what the fuck
1980s
happens.
gory.
Yeah.
So it's
1980s gore, so like it's campy gory. Yeah, you're not watching. You're like, oh, that looks really realistic. You're like, okay, this is fun.
And the demons' faces are like, they're probably my least favorite part, honestly, because they're just kind of like, they're not very effective, I feel.
They're also inconsistent.
They're very inconsistent.
You've got like doll-faced Linda.
Yeah, makeup for some reason.
Yeah, makeup.
Yeah.
And
They spent all the budget on Cheryl's, actually. That's why. Because Cheryl's really,
was good.
Yeah.
Cheryl was cool.
Creepy.
But they did all have the white contact lenses that were apparently like they covered half the eye. It had to be taken out every 15 minutes to allow the eye to breathe because they were so painful to wear that they could only do those shots in like 15-minute stints, and then they had to like stop, take them out, let them have a minute, and then like put them back in and keep going.
All right. It's a good
Fun facts.
It's a good balance. They had to endure the eye contact, and Bruce had to be hit by a motorcycle.
They had to ordeal a lot in that movie, actually. It was terrible. But so worth it.
Like, there should be another movie made about the trauma of the movie making.
I think there is a documentary about it, actually. Yeah. I can't remember what the doc is called, but there is a documentary that came out in the last year or two, I think.
I feel like
I can't remember.
People would be more mad if Sam Raimi, the director, wasn't such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, that was such a horrible experience filming that. It was the worst experience of my life. But it's all worth it because Sam is such a cool guy and he's so fun.
Yeah. Let's make many more.
If it was like Bryan Singer, and then it's like, no, like this guy's the worst. Yeah.
They hated every minute of filming, but at the same time, friendship.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's
So it
like
brought
when you
everyone
are at
together.
a job that you absolutely hate, but you like the people you work with, and then you quit, and like 2 years down the road, you're like, I really wouldn't mind going back to that job, actually. You know?
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. Except they
Yeah.
never like quit, I feel. Like Bruce
Right.
Campbell was like a continuous like friend of his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
They
he-
made a lot of movies together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no, I definitely get that.
They've
Yeah.
been buds.
Mhm.
Would
Well,
you watch that movie?
yeah.
Knowing
I
is my question for you, Alenka.
again, I need to Google the gore factor because I'm kind of a baby, but I'm curious because it just seems like a clusterfuck of things that happen. And the
Yes.
whole time I was wondering, I was like,
Very
how is he
chaotic.
going to get out? How is he going to get out of this situation? And he doesn't really.
Through one of the open windows. That's
Yes. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to watch this and I'm just going to be screaming at the screen the whole time, like, stop. Like, come on, use your brain.
The second one is really fun because, again, like they didn't necessarily have the rights to the
I
first
need
one
to
to
know.
reuse any of the footage, but so it sort of continues the story, but it sort of starts from the beginning, fast tracks it a little bit, and then carries on, but it's a lot funnier. So the thing with Evil Dead as a
Weird.
franchise is that most people, again, like Ash versus Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, and Evil Dead 2 are all very like campy, like really funny horror comedy, and The Evil Dead is like the
Oh.
only like straight
Mhm.
horror movie of them all.
Mhm.
So if you
So
want to
they-
like get the enjoyable elements of it, you can do like Evil Dead 2, which has like a lot of funny comedy elements, but still has that like story of the Evil Dead.
Oh, Evil Dead is on
And
Netflix.
also- There you go.
Okay,
oh
I
wait, is
might
it the
watch it.
2013 one?
Oh, it might be the remake.
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely
Yeah, don't watch the
watch-
remake.
Not
Don't
that
watch
it's
that
bad.
if you're not. But if you're
No,
if you're
it's
not
the
good with
2013
gore,
one.
It's
I love
pretty,
it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Ash
I
versus
love the
Evil
2013
Dead is
remake,
here.
but it's not for
No.
yeah.
It's 2018
Alenka.
though.
No,
Okay.
not for Alenka.
Oh.
Yeah,
Alenka,
Ash
what's
versus
your-
the Evil Dead is on there.
Mhm.
Ash vs.
That's
Evil
a great
Dead.
show.
It's a
I definitely
2018
recommend the
one.
show. Mhm.
It's a series.
Okay.
TV series.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
Alenka, what's your
Looks
favorite
silly.
movie?
What a great question. Please don't ask me that. I get stressed out.
Like, I want to gauge where you know your mind is lying.
Right. So, to give you a little bit of look into my life, when I first saw Step Brothers, I spent the rest of the day watching just that movie over and over and over
Oh my
again. I'm not
I
kidding.
feel like Sam Raimi is a distant cousin of Step Brothers
Okay.
in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
I
there
can get
is
into
humor
this.
to be found in the like. It's funny because of how ridiculous it is.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
Army
like-
of Darkness, he goes back in time and gets stuck in the medieval ages,
Stop.
which is like amazing.
Okay, yeah, this sounds
And he's very
hilarious.
sexy
Like
still.
I
It's
was able
really
to
funny.
watch what are those guys with the oh my god, they're British and they do Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Like
Shaun of
those
the Dead, yeah.
that one
Yeah.
and then what was the one with the town?
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. I was able
Yeah.
to watch those and
Yeah.
there's a little bit of gore, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This
There's like
gore-
the little model thing going up through Timothy
Oh, yeah.
Dalton's chin.
That was
yeah.
icky.
Yeah.
the gore in these movies, or at least this first one, is very it's just copious amounts of like blood that's like stupid, you know? It's like
Okay.
and all the
Mhm.
I can
gore is
handle
really
this.
like that's
Again,
like
it's like claymation gore
Yeah.
type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
The
not
can
worst
like
totally
part
highly
though
handle
is
this.
definitely the pencil.
oh the
Yeah, the
pencil.
pencil.
pencil and the
Yeah.
ankle that they spend a lot of time on because they're like, this was cool.
And
it's
it
That
was.
looks so
It was
good.
Well, Alenka,
Yes.
how many ooey gooey milky wounds do you give this
Oh,
movie?
yucky.
And
Ugh.
or open windows?
Oh, okay. We're gonna go with the open windows because I like it better. Ooh, no, I got this one. Okay. We've got a house with about 20 windows. Okay, let's say we've got 20 windows. And
It's a lot.
15 of those windows are broken open. 5 of those windows have milky ooey goodness coming out of them.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like
Ooh,
that.
if the whole
Nice.
house was like the whole house basically does
5
bleed
of
at
the
the
windows
end, but
were
if it
fine.
also milky.
Wait, the house does bleed? No.
Well, like
Yes.
there's so much
Wait,
blood
really?
coming down.
Yeah, there's so much blood.
Like
yeah.
a light bulb
Like
fills
out
with
of-
blood.
yeah.
It's like
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And like the when
The
he goes in the
pipes.
basement and the pipes
Yeah.
and the yeah.
So
the
weird.
cellar.
Month
Right.
of blood.
What do you think
So
their
that's, like,
BB
15
blood budget was?
15 open windows.
Probably
budget?
the budget for the blood.
Was
I think
the
the
whole
budget
portion
overall
for the
was,
budget
I'm sure
of the
they made
movie?
it themselves.
I think the budget overall, like they borrowed money from people, they got loans, they like scrapped and
man.
scraped, and I think they managed to do it like I want to say like 300,000, but
Yeah,
I
it
might
was
be
about
wrong with that.
300,000.
Yeah,
And they originally
350 or
planned
something.
for 90,000.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But they had to go back and do reshoots and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ugh.
And distribution and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But they got assistance from a little man called Stephen King because he wrote about it
Yes.
in an article because he saw the movie and was like so psyched on it.
At
And he
Cannes.
wrote about it at
Mhm.
Cannes. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you wrote a little article about it and it got the movie a ton of attention and then it
Oh,
kind of
that's
blew
so
up.
cool.
Yeah, I love
So, like, thanks,
Stephen
Stephen King.
Yeah, he's such a great guy.
What a good guy.
He's so supportive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
made Sam Raimi. We would not have Spider-Man if not for
That's
Stephen
true.
King.
That's
Did
true.
you think about that?
Mhm.
I don't get
Sam
it.
Raimi directed the Spider-Man
Oh,
films.
no, I know.
the ones with Tobey
Toes-
Maguire.
the
I
Toes
know that.
Maguire,
Tugboat Maguire.
yeah.
I don't get that.
Which actually that like started the superhero genre like becoming so
Mhm.
big. So like
Yeah, that
in a
and
way
X-Men were
Stephen
around the same
King
time, yeah.
explained
He's the reason we have
Marvel
cinema.
like yeah.
Yeah. Him and his writing about kids having sex, you know?
Yeah. And yet he
What?
cannot, or I don't know if you've seen The Shining, Alenka, but he can't stand The Shining.
I think I
The
have
movie,
seen it, but I
yeah.
haven't. I've also seen the Family Guy version of The Shining too, so like I get confused sometimes.
A good interpretation.
Yeah.
Stephen King
Yeah.
probably
It
likes
is.
that more than The Shining, the movie.
Yeah.
Well, Bri and Kelly, I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so much
a
fun.
late
For
night,
having us,
but,
yeah.
we got bloody milky goodness.
Yeah.
I have my Coca-Cola, so I feel good.
Where can our listeners find your podcast if they want to listen to your podcast, which everyone should, by the way, listening.
Yeah, so our podcast, once again, is called Murmurs from the Morgue. We're available anywhere where you can find the podcast you're listening to right now. So Spotify, Apple Music,
Other places.
other places, all the places,
All the
Google,
apps, you know?
All the apps, yeah.
iHorror's
We're-
website.
Yeah, we're on Instagram at Murmurs from the Morgue. We are on Twitter at Morgue Murmurs. We're on Facebook at Murmurs from the Morgue, and we usually post links to stuff there. And yeah, that's where we can be found.
Yep.
That's awesome. And follow them as you follow us. If you're following us, if you're not following us, go
Join
follow us,
us.
then follow them.
Will,
follow
did
them,
you
then
like
follow
that?
us. Yeah, join
did
us.
you go brain dead for like a second? Because that
I
was
did.
so
I did. I think I had a stroke. But follow
Are you
them.
in there?
And then if you're not following us, go follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's at Haven't Seen a Podcast. And on Twitter at haven't_seen_it. We also have a website, haven'tseenapodcast.com. Big list of movies Alenka hasn't seen is on there, and all our episodes, so you can listen to them there or on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher,
the
other
works.
apps, all the other apps that are out there. You know, the works. And write us a review on iTunes.
Yeah.
Those help, I believe. They're
Give us
nice.
5 stars.
And
I'm
Give us
writing
some-
my review right now.
yeah, get some
Yeah.
5 stars and say some nice things, or even just like thinly veiled insults, but
Yeah.
still rate us 5, but then just like tell us
And
like,
then
you know what, I
insult.
actually don't like when you did this,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it again. And then I'll be like, you know what, fuck you, I'll do it again.
It would kind of be like a
Um,
compliment sandwich. You know how they're like, say something nice, then the bad thing, and then something nice again. But in this case, it's just an open faced sandwich, I guess.
Yeah, it's an open window sandwich. That's what it is. And well, speaking of reviews, the reviews are in, and the most worthy thing about our podcast is
Oh,
actually not our voices, but our theme song. We are an award-nominated podcast. Our theme song is nominated for a Canadian Podcast Award. So if you're listening to this
Way to go,
and
Zach.
you're a podcaster, go register on the Canadian, and you're a Canadian podcaster, I should say. Go register on the Canadian Podcast
a lot of
Awards and
things to keep in
vote
mind.
for our theme song to win. Unless, of course, someone else in that category is also your friend, then you're going to have to choose who you like more.
Choose us.
It better be us. But yeah, thank you, Zach, for the amazing theme. It's apparently the only thing worthy about this podcast.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah. And, on that note, you guys, don't feel bad if you have to cut all the limbs of your friendships off to practice better self-care. A thank you. A good night.
That was so good.
Stop. I hate you so much.